Last night you lay in bed, wide awake. You checked the clock at 1 a.m., then 2, then 3. Nothing was wrong. No noise, no stress, no reason. Except one. A full moon was hanging outside your window and your body knew it before your mind did. You've probably heard the old claim. Full moons make people restless. Hospitals get busier. Sleep gets worse. For centuries, this was dismissed as folklore, something grandmothers said and scientists rolled their eyes at. But the real answer is far stranger than folklore. Because it turns out your ancestors weren't imagining things. They were listening to a signal your body still responds to, even now, even here, even under blackout curtains and city light pollution. Here is what actually happens in your brain during a full moon, and why breaking that connection might be costing you more than a good night's sleep. Start with the obvious question: how could moonlight possibly affect you indoors? Most bedrooms are sealed off from the sky, curtains block it, blinds block it. Even a sliver of moonlight seems too faint to matter next to a phone screen or a hallway light, so the moon shouldn't matter. That was the assumption for decades. Then, in 2013, a sleep researcher named Cajochen decided to actually test it. His team at the University of Basel had old data sitting in a drawer. Years of recordings from a sleep lab. Volunteers who had slept there long before anyone thought to ask about the moon. Cajochen went back and matched every night of sleep data to the lunar calendar. He wasn't hunting for a moon effect. He was double-checking something else entirely. What he found surprised him. Around the full moon, people took longer to fall asleep. Their deep sleep dropped by roughly 30%. Melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to rest, was measurably lower. And this happened even in a windowless lab. No moonlight touched those rooms. Something else was tracking the lunar cycle, and it wasn't their eyes. So what was it? This is where the story gets deeper. Your body isn't just responding to moonlight in the moment. It may be running on a rhythm laid down long before electric light existed. Before humans could flip a switch and banish the dark, moonlight was one of the only reliable sources of visibility at night, bright enough to hunt by, bright enough to travel by, bright enough to matter. Think about what that meant for your ancestors. For nearly all of human history, the difference between a new moon and a full moon was the difference between total darkness and enough light to see a threat coming. Predators moved differently under a full moon. So did rival groups. So did opportunities. A full moon night might be the safest night to travel, gather, or hunt, because you could actually see. A brain that stayed slightly more alert on bright nights had an advantage. Not fully awake, not anxious, just primed. A shallower kind of sleep that could snap into alertness faster if something moved in the light. Over hundreds of thousands of years, that priming could have become wired in, not a conscious choice. A quiet, ancient setting buried in the same systems that regulate your heartbeat and your hunger. This isn't only a human story either. Researchers have tracked lunar-linked behavior across the animal kingdom for years. Lions hunt less during bright full moons because prey can see them coming, then hunt more aggressively in the days just after, when darkness returns and the advantage flips back. Dung beetles use polarized moonlight to navigate in a straight line across the African savanna. Coral spawns in sync with lunar phases with an accuracy that still isn't fully explained. If the moon shapes behavior that deeply across so many species, it would be strange if humans were somehow exempt. But here's the twist. If this rhythm is ancient, shouldn't it have faded by now? You don't need moonlight to navigate anymore. You don't sleep outside under open sky. Why would a modern brain, raised on streetlights and phone screens, still flicker in response to a rock 384,000 kilometers away? The answer may be that it hasn't faded, it's just been buried under something louder. In 2021, a researcher named Leandro Casiraghi ran a different kind of study. Instead of a sleep lab, he looked at 3 communities in Argentina living with very different amounts of access to artificial light. One community with almost no electricity, one with partial access, one fully wired in a city. Casiraghi's team tracked sleep timing across the lunar cycle in all 3 groups. Every single group showed the same pattern. Nights leading up to a full moon, people went to bed later and slept less. It happened in the community with no electric light. It happened in the fully electrified city group too, just with a smaller effect. The rhythm was there in all three. Modern light didn't erase it, it just muted it